The story begins with a basketball game. The team has only 44 seconds left to win. A player named Mason scores 2 baskets at the last moment and wins the game. But that's when he starts seeing a burned creature. Mason leaves the celebrations and heads straight to the locker room. He has an old artifact hidden here. The burned creature is coming right at him. So Mason smashes the artifact to pieces. After that, the rest of the team walks into the locker room. They all praise Mason for his incredible play. Mason heads to take a shower. And right then, the burned creature shows up again. It burns Mason alive, completely engulfing him. The story jumps 6 months ahead. A girl named Chris is sitting by the window, staring down below. Her cousin Rel barges straight into her room. Chris just moved here. Today is her first day at a new school. The moment she walks in, she notices a girl named Ellie. Chris finds the name Hoser written on her locker, which was Mason's nickname. Mason's teammate Dean walks up and tells her she can't use it. Dean's girlfriend Grace comes over and asks Rel who this girl is. Dean says, "Are you the new girl who just got out of junkie rehab after she killed her dad?" Chris kicks Dean right between his legs. A teacher shows up and sends all 4 of them to detention after school. Ellie speaks up and says the new girl did nothing wrong. So this teacher, Mr. Craven, throws her into detention too. Afterward, Ellie apologizes to Chris for all the things Dean said. Meanwhile, Chris finds the same old artifact inside her locker. She opens it up. Inside, there's a whistle shaped like a skull. And it's whispering her full name, Chrysanthemum. Chris is just about to blow it when the bell rings. She heads to detention instead. There, the whistle falls out of her bag. Mr. Craven takes a close look at it. The second he sees it, he knows exactly what it is. There's something written on it. He translates the meaning, summon the dead. Mr. Craven calls it school property and refuses to give it back. He ends everyone's detention early, telling them to just write a 5-page essay on the role of pre-prepared sacrifice in ancient Mesoamerica. Grace invites everyone over to her house to work on the essay together. And Rel has a crush on Grace. At the same time, Mr. Craven is listing the artifact online to sell it. He blows the whistle to check if it still works. Rel remembers he left his comic book in the classroom. He walks in and sees Mr. Craven right outside the room. Rel peeks inside and discovers the teacher is trying to sell the artifact online for a huge price. Meanwhile, outside, Chris runs into a youth pastor named Noah. He tells her she should come by his church sometime for a good time. He tries to offer her something. That's when Rel shows up. But Noah completely overpowers Rel without breaking a sweat. Rel tells Chris that Noah sells drugs to the kids who come to his church. And a year ago, one of them overdosed. Back inside, Mr. Craven realizes the whistle is gone. Over at Grace's house, Rel shows everyone the whistle and reveals he has it. At that same moment, Mr. Craven starts hearing strange noises. He thinks it's his cleaner, Charlie. He calls out for Charlie and walks outside. But standing there is a strange-looking man. Mr. Craven tells him the school is closed and he's trespassing. That's when Charlie actually shows up beside him. Mr. Craven laughs it off and says he's just been working a little too much. But the moment he walks back into his classroom, the bald stranger appears. The man crushes Mr. Craven's lungs. The hair falls off Craven's head. He dies looking exactly like the stranger, an identical copy. Back at Grace's house, she blows the whistle in front of everyone. They all cover their ears. After the whistle sounds, the entire atmosphere around them shifts. Something feels different. As they're all leaving, Ellie invites Chris to a festival, saying she'd really like it if Chris came. Chris asks Rel if Ellie is straight. Rel smiles and says, "I think we're gonna find out." Back home, Chris can't stop overthinking how to respond to the invite. And right then, through her window, she spots someone standing on a tree outside, watching her. Right then, Rel walks in. He looks outside but doesn't see anyone there. In the middle of all this, Chris accidentally sends a message to Ellie. Ellie asks about tomorrow. Rel grabs the phone and types back, "See you tomorrow." Over at her place, Ellie is drawing a chrysanthemum. Grace is still hanging out by her pool. That's when she hears something. She figures it's her little brother. But this is something else entirely. Grace starts getting scared. She moves closer to check, but no one is there. Then she feels a hand touch her face. She spins around. Her brother is standing right behind her. He just came to call her inside. The next morning, Jhaleil and Chris arrive at school. And right there they learn the news. Mr. Craven is dead. He had stage 4 lung cancer. But just yesterday, the man looked perfectly fine. At the same time, Ellie spots someone sitting in front of her. The figure starts moving in a strange, unnatural way. It looks almost exactly like her. Ellie and Chris head to Mason's house to return the whistle. The front door is open. Music is playing inside. Someone is clearly home. A woman steps forward and says she was born in this house. And she wants to die in this house. But the bank is telling her it's not hers anymore. This woman is Mason's grandmother, Ivy. She's collected things from all over the world. Chris shows her the whistle and says she found it in Mason's locker. Ivy says, "You didn't find it. It found you. Like it found my grandson. Like it found me. And it took my grandson and my daughter." Chris tells her they were told the markings read, "Summon the dead." Ivy shakes her head. The markings actually read, "Summon your death." The day you are born, so is your death. And from that day on, she is searching for you. She will find you at the time you are fated to die. But if you hear the whistle scream, a call from Inchoka guides your death to find you sooner. Death looks exactly like what a person would be in their very last breath. Ivy hands the whistle back to Chris. Ellie says Ivy is on medication and has just lost her family. And as a future doctor, there is no medical science behind anything she's saying. Chris isn't fully convinced either. So they sneak into the hospital to look at Mason's file. Ellie works here. The records reveal that Mason's body was found severely burned. They had to use his dental records just to identify him. Right then a doctor walks in. Ellie and Chris quickly hide. That's when Chris reads a line in Mason's file. The bone structure suggests a man in his late 40s. But Mason was only 17 when he died. It starts clicking into place. Mason would have died from a gas leak when he was older. And Mr. Craven's cancer would have killed him eventually, maybe in another 10 to 15 years. But not last night. And now every single one of them has heard that whistle. They need to warn the others, who are right now at the festival. Jhaleil is dressed up as a character. Grace is dressed like a devil girl. Jhaleil walks up to her and says, "Let me win you a teddy bear." He asks for a shot. But Grace tells him, "You're a sweet guy and a good person. Someday you're gonna make someone way better than me so happy." Dean calls out to Grace. She walks over to him and says, "You have to give me a full 2-minute lead, because I'm getting to that bell and ringing it." Grace heads into a haunted maze. Right behind her, Ellie and Chris arrive at the festival and run straight into Noah. Ellie kicks him between the legs. Noah pulls out a knife on them. Chris snatches the knife and slashes him right across the nose. Inside the haunted maze, Grace is making her way deeper in. Dean is coming up right behind her. But Grace spots an old woman standing in front of her. The woman starts saying Grace's name. The sound of it terrifies her. Grace turns and runs. Chris asks Jhaleil where Grace and the others are. Jhaleil wins a teddy bear and heads into the maze with them. Grace calls Dean and tells him an old woman is chasing her. She keeps saying her name, but Grace has no idea who she is. That's when Grace spots some tools lying in front of her. And the old woman catches up right behind her. The woman crawls toward her. Grace grabs a shovel and swings it hard. But the same hit reflects back onto Grace. Dean can hear all of it through the phone. Grace gets up and sees blood dripping from her forehead. The old woman rises back up too. Grace screams and runs. But her screams are completely swallowed by the noise of the festival. No one can hear her. Dean takes off running to find Grace. She squeezes into a narrow vent-like passage inside the maze. But the old woman follows her in there too. The second the woman touches Grace, her body starts aging. But Grace doesn't give up. She keeps pushing forward. She almost makes it to the bell. But just as she reaches for it, the old woman grabs her and ages her completely. Grace rings the bell. But it's far too late. Dean finds her but refuses to believe this is Grace. Ellie and Chris try to explain everything to him. They tell him it all happened because of the whistle. They've all heard the sound, and it summoned all their deaths. Ellie says she saw hers too, that very morning during assembly. But Dean says he doesn't know anything about any of this. All he knows is that everything started when Chris came into town. Jhaleil steps in and says, "Dean, you dared Grace to blow that whistle. It's your fault she's dead." Dean shoves Jhaleil and says, "People like you don't ever stand a chance." Hearing that, Jhaleil walks away. Dean goes home drunk, and right there in his room he sees his own death. He flips on the light. No one is there. His father appears at the door and tells him, "You shouldn't be driving and drinking. It'll be the death of you." Jhaleil is sitting outside in the rain. Ellie and Chris are together inside. Chris opens up to Ellie and says, "I overdosed about a year ago. My dad found me and drove me to the hospital. We were half a mile away and a truck hit us. My actions killed my dad, and there's nothing I can do about it. Sometimes I wish it was me." Ellie leans in and kisses her, but outside, Jhaleil sees his own death. He's going to die in a steel mill grinder. The next day, they all go to see Ivy. She's gotten much worse. They ask her if there's any way to stop this. Ivy tells them death is unstoppable, but there is a way to change its course. Give your death someone else's life. When your death is near, mark another person with your blood, and you will be spared. Ellie sees her own death right there. There's a needle in her wrist. And just like that, Ivy dies while telling them all of this. Jhaleil finally has a way to survive. But Ellie says she vetoes any solution that requires murder. Chris says, "I saw my death. I overdose with a needle in my arm, and I don't ever want to do that again." Jhaleil walks out alone. Meanwhile, Dean is watching the news on his TV. They're reporting on a body found at the festival. It hasn't been identified yet. That's when Dean's doorknob starts rattling. The door swings open and a hand reaches through. Dean panics and throws a chair at the door. His dad comes and asks what happened. Dean won't open the door, no matter what his father says. And right then, his death comes from behind and slams into him like a full-speed car crash. Dean's parents burst inside and watch their son die right in front of their eyes in the most horrifying way. On the other side of town, Chris and Ellie reach Jhaleil's room, but he's not there. All they find is a photo of a steel mill and a page ripped from a comic book. Jhaleil is outside Noah's church, watching him. He walks in carrying a gun and tells Noah, "You have to do what I say." Noah laughs and says, "I bet you don't even know how to use that gun." Jhaleil fires a shot and shatters a vase. But right then, a bell rings. Noah uses the distraction to lunge for the gun. The two of them struggle. Noah grabs the gun for himself, but Jhaleil says, "I don't die this way." Noah pulls the trigger. The gun doesn't fire, and Jhaleil knocks him to the ground. The scene shifts to the steel mill. Jhaleil tells Noah, "This is where you're gonna die." He searches Noah's pockets and finds some pills. Noah tells him 1 will make you happy, 2 will make you fly. Jhaleil shoves 3 into Noah's mouth. He takes a cutter and slices his own hand open. He places the whistle right in front of him. Jhaleil moves forward to mark Noah with his blood. But Ellie and Chris rush in and beg him to stop. Jhaleil says, "A murdering scumbag like him gets to live while all of us die?" Jhaleil reaches his hand out, inching closer to Noah. But he doesn't mark him. He stops. He steps back and says, "I guess everyone has to die once." That one line gives Chris an idea. But Jhaleil's death has already arrived. Right there, Jhaleil is shredded into thin air, as if his body got pulled into some invisible metal scrapper. Chris breaks down crying. She looks at Ellie and says, "I am not letting it get you." She says they can't outrun death. They have to die. But that doesn't mean they have to stay dead. Ellie has backup insulin in her car. Chris's plan is to use the insulin to stop their hearts. They head to a closed auto repair center. Ellie grabs her supplies and meets her there. Chris is already starting to see her death. She finds an AED machine inside. They fill a metal container with water and dump ice into it. Ellie prepares the injections. The plan is for both of them to go through with it. But Ellie injects Chris first, telling her, "I need to make sure you live." And right then, Chris realizes her death looks exactly like this. Exactly like what's happening to her right now. Ellie submerges her in the ice water and pulls her back out. She injects her with glucagon. She hits her with the defibrillator. Chris is trapped in a dark place where death has a hold on her. In the real world, she's not waking up. On the other side, Noah regains consciousness. He grabs the gun and heads straight for them. He starts smashing through the shutter door with a hammer. And right then, Ellie starts seeing her own death. Noah almost breaks through. He fires a shot at the charging defibrillator and destroys it. Ellie is hit too. She calls out to Chris. She says her full name. Chrysanthemum. Chris hears it. She remembers Ellie. Chris rips herself free from death's grip and moves toward a light breaking through from above. She comes back to life. The first thing she sees is Ellie's death and Ellie writhing in agony. Noah breaks inside. Calling himself God's child, he's coming to finish them off. But he touches Ellie's blood pooling on the ground. The second he touches it, Ellie's death vanishes. And Noah starts seeing his own death. He fires at it. Every single bullet reflects right back into him. His death reaches him and takes him. Ellie and Chris both survive. The story jumps 3 months ahead. Ellie has completely changed her look. She hasn't been able to forget what happened, but she's still with Chris. And somewhere in that school, the whistle finds its way to another girl. And the cycle begins again. And that's where this story ends. Let us know in the comments what you thought of this explanation. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.